Hi, my name is Kemal Braffett, and you already know where I'm at the Higher Order Studios. And in today's video, I'm be breaking down one of my reggae keyboard patches. So this patch, well, I have a lot of reggae patches, and this is a patch that I built specifically for the song. And I built this specifically for Skanking Sweet. I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with that tune. And this patch essentially have about 10 tones split and layered across the keyboard. So you can start at the bottom and we can cycle through. So right at the bottom, I have I have two pianos and an organ. Those three tones that I have there, the two bright pianos and the organ, I have them set up using a velocity layer. So what I did was I took two bright pianos, I turned off the reverb, because sometimes the tones are preset with reverb and sometimes based on how your scene or patch is set up, certain tracks will have the reverb on it. So you have to manually turn it off sometimes before you save the patch or scene. So I layered those two bright pianos together, turned off all the reverb, and I used two because I have them layered an octave apart. So it would sound like if I'm buying with two hands, when actually only using one hand. And then also to those two pianos, I have an organ. And as I said, I have that set up using a velocity layer. So I have it set up in a way where you only hear the pianos when I hit a certain velocity. So what I did, I raised the lower velocity of the pianos up to about, that was about 100 or so. It runs from 1 to 127. So I raised it to about 100. So that means I will have to be striking the keyboard with a velocity of at least 100 to hear those pianos. So it's like every time I touch the keyboard soft, you will hear the organ, but you're not gonna hear the piano unless I hit that velocity. So then you could get the effect of bubbling buying with one hand. Or then have the other bubble you could do where you right above that. As I said, I have two bright pianos and an organ layered together. And the next thing I have is a muted guitar. Well, in this part, yeah, I only have the muted guitar on this one note. I mean, if you're playing with actual guitars, you might not need to use that, but I just stick it inside there. Essentially, my process is I like to listen to songs and then I try to see how much tones or how much parts I could maybe say play on my own or fit in to one patch. I don't really do much of this now because usually when I play I use two keyboards. So it's not a real need to try to fit everything within 61 keys. But it's still a neat trick and skill to develop. So I have my bubble and bang, which is my two bright pianos and my organ down here. I have my muted guitar right there on that one note G. And here I have a pad that I have layered to a guitar, a twin strap guitar that has on a delay effect with some reverb. And yeah, and then at the top I have my brass. And if you hear that, that's actually three brass tones that I have layered together. So I have a regular brass section, and then I layered that to a swell brass. Some keyboards come preset with a swell brass tone, but sometimes you actually have to create it on your own. And you could do that essentially by taking a brass tone, and you will have to essentially go into tone edit function, um, and edit that tone specifically and adjust the action of it. And when you adjust the action, well, that's what it is inside of this Roland the FA or 6. It might be slightly different depending on the keyboard you're doing, but I got that swell effect by adjusting the action on the brass tone already. And what I did was I layered two of the swell brass tones that I created together with a regular brass section. just to get that effect. And it just gives it like a fuller sound. And right at the top, I have some choirs. The interesting thing with those chords is that I actually have them transposed to a different key. So these three notes right here at the top that I playing, I transpose them to another key so I would be able to fit them within the 61 keys that I have at my disposal. So that's it essentially for my skanking patch. I have two pianos laid with an organ at the bottom. I have my muted guitar right there. I have a pod layer to my twin strat guitars, and those guitars I have a delay effect and some reverb. And then I have my brass. Um well, I have three brass tones here layered together, a regular brass section with two swell brass patches that I created. And then at the top I have my choirs. And that's another reason why I position those choirs at the top. So I could play the horn line and also trigger the choirs at the same time. So after I come out of the horn line, I could play the last one of the horn line and also start um the little line that I have there in my choirs. So that's it for today. Until next time, whenever that may be.